I made 10 pounds of venison bacon. And yes, it does taste exactly like real bacon. Hey folks, welcome to GunSmoke Farmstead. So we weren't thinking very clearly, and Robin was actually at work, so I never even thought about making a video. The making process and the recipe of our venison bacon. So according to Instagram and the posts that we put up, people are pretty interested in that. So I'll go ahead and tell you my recipe while I'm cutting some bacon up here. We'll put it in the description below and you can try it on your own. So first off, I started with High Mountain Buckboard bacon cure, which you can get at any Fleet Farm or L&M or maybe even Walmart. So this actually isn't the best recipe that you can use. This is actually made for whole muscle meat, not ground, but it did turn out really well. There's instructions in there, just follow the instructions for that. So what I did, I took 10 pounds of ground venison, and all of our ground venison, we mix 70-30 with pork fat. That's just what I've always done, and that's what my family's used to eating. I've had many people suggest trying beef fat or not using any fat at all, but that's what we do. I have a 25-pound meat mixer. That's just a hand crank that turns the meat. That thing is actually really awesome. It mixes all the seasoning and the cure in very, very thoroughly. That's kind of key when you're doing a project like this with the bacon. You want that cure to get in to every piece of the meat. So I took the 10 pounds of venison, I mixed up the cure according to the recipe, and then I put it in just a 10 by 14 cake pan. And the recipe actually calls for it to sit in the fridge for 10 days. So because of my work schedule, it ended up sitting for almost 2 weeks, almost 14 days, which with cure, once it's cured, it's fine to sit in the fridge like that. At least that's what I've been led to believe my whole life. So you turn it about every 5 days. So what we did was just cut it in half and then flip the blocks of meat over. Then once I got home and started the smoker part, I preheated my smoker to 130 and got the smoke rolling. In every recipe that I've ever seen, you increase the temperature by 10 degrees every hour until you get to 180 degrees, and then you just smoke it until you get the internal temperature of 160. 160 is what's safe for venison. And pork. Pork is even lean meat. So I don't have a meat slicer, so just a good sharp knife and slice nice and thin. Sometimes it turns out, sometimes it doesn't. So with this being so lean and the fat from the pork fat basically gelled with the rest of the meat in the smoking process, so I recommend adding a little bit of butter. We'll show you that when we fry some up. But just slice it up, and it's got real nice thick consistency. You can't, if you look at ground meat compared to this, what it started as, you can't tell that it was ground meat. It looks like it's solid muscle meat. So slice it up. I'm going to put it into 1 pound packages and vacuum seal it and freeze it. So that way we have plenty of bacon. I mean, our kids love bacon, so it'll probably go pretty fast. So there you have it. Buckboard ground venison bacon. Dead deer bacon, like the kids say. In the smoker, it ended up taking pretty close to 8 hours to smoke it. So you can see on there that it has a really good smoke crust, nice and firm and crispy, and that's actually what's really, really tasty. Just pay attention when you're smoking your meat. All right, so now I'm just separating it into roughly 1 pound packages. and vacuum sealing it. So we can just pull out one package real quick and make breakfast or whatever. Make sure you check your state and local game laws. In the state of Minnesota, there are laws that say if you are going to gift game meat, it needs to be labeled properly. I believe in the state of Minnesota, it is your name and address and the harvest registration number, as well as when it was harvested and what type of game it is. Some fish you need to leave some skin on. So just be sure that you check your local game laws and make sure you're not doing anything you're not supposed to. Alright, so I'm going to be frying up some of this bacon. I'm going to use a little bit of butter to help kind of brown it up a little bit better. So we'll see how it goes. I fried some up yesterday and it was really good. So the reason I'm using a little bit of butter is because throughout the smoking process, the fat that was in the meat mixed with the meat combined with the meat itself. So I'm just going to introduce a little bit more fat into it to help it cook a little bit better. Got a little high. So it's fully cured and it cooked fully in the smoker. So we basically just need to heat it up and brown it a little bit for taste. Alright, so you can see that it's just slightly browned on the top here, and the bottom is matching. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull it off. And enjoy.